The suspects are no other person but the same Ansumana Ansujaju, Loseni Jabate, Abdullah Jallo, and one Omar Seka. This time also, they jointly shared the money, and each of them was able to get $400,000. After that robbery, considering themselves as successful, now they become emboldened, and in a rare and brazen attack, they strategized and also went to attack a Mauritanian shop operated by Al Hela Enterprise located along Hagan Street in Banjul. But prior to this operation, they jointly contributed money and bought a BMW ash color, which they used in that operation. Here, I want to state that by the time of their operations, the vehicle was unnumbered. But when we checked in the system with the company that are responsible for printing number plates, we realized that actually the vehicle was numbered, it was registered, and the number plate was legally given to them. But as we
if you want to take the vehicle is outside, you can now move to the vehicle. The camera crew can move to the vehicle while these people are here. The Gambia Police Force, to be specific here, the anti-crime unit. Actually, the commissioners are asked to be in here, while we have the generals on the table, please. The generals will be on the table, the commissioners will be just on the left of the ID, please. Please, our apologies. The rest of the commissioners can be here, please.
If here is filled, the rest can come.
Yes.
Once here is filled up, then the rest of the commissioners can come.
It's okay, if you have a seat there, you can. You can come out and sit, please. Let's settle down, everyone, so we can begin. Let's settle down, everyone, so that we can. Let's settle down. Let's keep it down and settle down. Any moment from now, you can. Again, with your permission, we would want to start the program proper. The Inspector General of Police and the leadership of the Gambia Police Force, senior officers here present, the press and media here present, we want to welcome you to yet another very significant milestone in our efforts to fight it and prevention of crime, the commission of crime in this country. Of recent, we are all aware of recent happening as far as crime and criminalities are concerned in this country. I want to say welcome to this very extraordinary press conference. Firstly, we will begin as customary for us to observe our individual prayers before we get into the program proper. You can take a minute, please. Amen would do us. The press conference would go as follows. I would invite the Inspector General of Police who will make a statement. Thereafter, there will be question and answers. We have given you the privilege to take your cutaways of some of the discoveries or recoveries from the criminals or the armed robbers, if you like. So at this moment, I would also want to invite the Inspector General of Police if he is ready. Inspector General of Police, please.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. The Assistant Inspector General of Police, responsible for crime management, Raji Demaso, the General in charge of police operations countrywide, Mr. Pate Jallo, the Commissioner responsible for legal, Gambia Police Force, Abdullah Sane, Commissioner responsible for forensics, Pakeba Dabo, Deputy Commissioner of Police, Anti-Crime Unit, so Deputy Commissioner of Police, under the Crime Management Pillar, Mr. Boto Keta, my personal assistant, DCP Boya, DCP Ba, in charge of Human Resources, officers and men of this fine institution, Gambia Police Force, members of the fourth estate, that's the press, I say a very good morning to all of you. We are gathered here today. It's not a gathering that we are pleased with on the other side, but the other way around, it's a gathering that is equally very important in the sense that recent happenings in the country leaves much to be desired. The general public were threatened, life and properties were equally threatened. Robbery cases in the increase. The spike was attributed to a lot of factors, and some of these factors included, but not limited to, the inability of Gambia Police Force the ineptitude, as some will put it, of Gambia Police Force to be able to effectively and adequately police this nation. We take responsibility, we don't shy away from our statutory responsibility, but we equally know all efforts are put in place to ensure crime is minimized, and the support that we are getting also from the executive, more especially in their own small way, is appreciated. I will take you through by sequence incidents of armed robbery that has been happening in this country, not only recently, but dated way back 2014, when some robbery cases were reported by the police, by the civilian, of course, to the police or the affected institutions. But today we are able to link some of these suspects to those robberies that occurred well before the advent of the new dispensation. And to start with, in 2014, Guaranty Trust Bank at Bakau was robbed, and the principal suspect in that robbery case is called Juan Ansumana, otherwise known as Ansu Jaju, resident of New Joshua in Serekunda. He was arrested, sent to the remand way, and when he started appearing before the courts, he jumped bail and then disappeared in the thin air and nowhere to be seen. Again, on the 4th of September 2022, a case of robbery was reported which happened around Senegambia area. The owner of the business, the proprietor, gave some money, a lot of money, to this same suspect, Ansumana Jaju, otherwise known as Ansu, to go and pay some of his workers. He left with this money, abandoned the car, where some items were recovered, including his own national identity card. This time around also, he was able to evade arrest and also move to a nearby country where intermittently he will appear briefly in the Gambia, conduct his operations with his accomplices, and then go back to that same location or destination. Most of the time, Ansu build up friendship with one Loseni Jabate, Ivorian national. They were all remanded at Mile 2 Central Prisons, and this was where they built up relationship. And subsequent to their disappearance, their escape, they teamed up together and they started conducting their operations. On the 29th June 2021, this same Ansu, whose boss was called Momar Tal, operating as Eman Trading, he robbed this business premises and equally got successful and vanished again into thin air. On the 1st of January, New Year's Day, store breaking and stealing. This was reported by one Ahmed Said Mohammed, a 32-year Mauritanian national, a businessman residing in Old Joshua, operating as Gumfood Complex at Denton Bridge, where he kept his goods and money. The same people went there, tied up the watchman, the night watchman, forcefully opened the back door and then opened the safe where monies were kept. The undermentioned suspects shared the money, which totals to $400,000. Ansu Mana, Ansu Jaju, Leseni Jabate, and Abdoulaye Jallo. The booty was $400,000. Each got $100,000 as their share, and the balance of $100,000 was kept and later utilized to procure arms and ammunition from a sister republic, which they later started using as means of their weapon to conduct these nefarious activities. Wednesday, 22nd January 2025. I'm sure by now everybody here in this hall will agree with me that we have all seen the CCTV footages of the alleged robbery which was conducted at Access Bank in Bijilo. 3 of them, driven by a taxi driver, went to the bank, as I mentioned during my appearance at GRTS on that fateful day, conducted their operations using these same weapons that they were able to procure. The suspects are no other person but the same Ansu Mana, Ansu Jaju, Loseni Jabate, Abdoulaye Jallo, and one Omar Seka. This time also, they jointly shared the money, and each of them was able to get $400,000. After that robbery, considering themselves as successful, now they become emboldened, and in a rare and brazen attack, they strategized and also went to attack a Mauritanian shop operated by Al Hela Enterprise located along Hagan Street in Banjul. But prior to this operation, they jointly contributed money and bought a BMW ash color, which they used in that operation. Here, I want to state that by the time of their operations, the vehicle was unnumbered. But when we checked in the system with the company that are responsible for printing number plates, we realized that actually the vehicle was numbered, it was registered, and the number plate was legally given to them. But as we all know how criminals and criminal elements operate, they remove this, conduct their operations, and instantly fixed the number plate again. The cost of that BMW was $150,000. At the Al Hela shop, $1,245,000 was taken, and then CFA denominations $1,650,000. That was the money they got from the operations at Al Hela. Again, the suspects, Leseni Jabate, Abdoulaye Jallo. Jabate's share was $377,250,000 with 465,000 CFA. Mr. Jallo Abdullahi got $222,000, 770,000 CFA. That operation, initially, they tried to trick investigators by saying, actually, there were 3 in number. On the whole, it was only the 2 of them, but as investigations expanded, we were able to confirm with certainty, and which was also confessed by themselves, that actually it was the 2 of them only. Now coming back to Mr. Jaju Ansu, after the operations at Access Bank, he fled to Guinea-Bissau. Investigators from the Crime Management Pillar, jointly with our colleagues, elements of the anti-crime unit, were able to re-strategize, see the best possible way to be able to track these people. By way of investigations, I cannot delve deep into matters or areas or intelligence that were done for us to be able to track him all the way to Bissau. In security, there is what we call NTK, otherwise known as Need to Know. With due respect to my media colleagues, I don't want to go too much into that, and I believe I will get your understanding on this. Now, moving forward. When our colleagues will get to Guinea-Bissau, we link them with the authorities there. And somebody who is very close to him was apprehended, who was shown these CCTV footages, where instantly he confirmed to them, yes, this is the man, I know him, he is called Mr. Ansumana Jaju. Investigations did not relent. With the support and collaboration of our Bissau colleagues, the next day we were able to locate him, and he was subsequently arrested. When he was arrested initially, as hardened criminals we all know them to be, he tried to be stubborn, he tried to be recalcitrant, he never wanted to own up to his crime. But then when questioning were intense, we started cracking holes, gaps started emerging, and then he subsequently agreed and confessed to the crimes that was committed. And personally here, I want to thank His Excellency, the Ambassador of Guinea-Bissau to the Gambia, Mr. Luis. I want to thank my Bissau counterpart, the Inspector General of Police. And I equally want to thank Dr. Domingos, who is in charge of the Judiciary Police, where Interpol falls under. They did a phenomenal job for us by cooperating with us, and eventually Ansu was extradited, escorted by the 4 officers from anti-crime to the Gambia. Now, as fate will have it, on the same day, when Ansu was being transported from Bissau, there was a sting operation that we conducted in Banjul the very day the El Hela incident happened. Gambia police officers were able, with reinforcement from our various units and with intelligence-led gathering or intelligence-led policing, we were able to flag and see a BMW who looks very similar to the one that was used during the operations. But this time around, with a number plate. Now, surveillance was mounted. Then there was ambush at various locations in and outside Banjul, which led to the arrest of a driver, a mechanic, and later Mr. Luseni Jabati. The following day was when we were successful in getting Mr. Abdullahi Jallo And when all of them were shown the CCTV footages at Access Bank, they immediately accepted that that same robbery was equally conducted by them. In fact, Anshu was the one with a white shirt. All right, before I forgot, the shirts, the dress they wore during the Access Bank operation, we were able to retrieve those same dresses at his residence in Guinea-Bissau, which is also with us here, and certainly prosecutors will use it as an evidence. For Mr. Jabate Luseni, he categorically told us that he was the one who wore the white kaftan during that operation. Abdullahi was the one wearing the jogging when they were operationalizing that act at Access Bank. The investigators did not relent. They want to dig in further to ensure all the perpetrators of this heinous act are brought to book. When they mention and confess to the participation of a taxi driver, we were on his trail. By dint of luck and hard work, he was equally arrested yesterday and is safe in our custody. Stream of successes. There was a robbery case that was also reported at Farato. I'm sad to say this because the person's name is Hussein Ture and we all know Ture. This is the guy who operated that shop and carted away a lot of expensive goods. When we get wind of his appearance elsewhere around this neighborhood, officers were on his trail, and eventually he was also arrested. And when the CCTV footages were shown to him, he admitted guilt and accepted that he solely and entirely operated that operation alone. Mr. Ture is equally with us here, and I think moving from here, this is where my updates will stop. But let me make one emphasis. We have been saying this time without number, but then it's like adherence to this, I will not call it an appeal, but directives which is supported by our existing laws, but people are not abiding by it. Perhaps I will accept the enforcement aspect of it from us, the Gambia Police Force. It's a little bit lacking. But from here today, Wednesday, the 12th of January, any driver, any commuter who wants to enjoy the comfort of your vehicle without discomforting innocent children that are supposed to be transported to and from school, please make sure you have your number plates fixed on your cars or your vehicles. Failure to do this, the car will be impounded and there will be heavy fine on the spot before you can get back your vehicle. This is now not a warning, it's now not an appeal, rather, but it's a warning. And our expectations as policing elements of this country is to be supported by all and sundry. More especially, members of the security fraternity. Because usually, we are the very ones, on this particular matter that I'm talking here, we are the very ones who abuse this. You have your number fixed in front of the car, but at the rear, you deliberately remove it with a simple pretext or excuse to say it's damaged or broken. This will not be accepted any longer, and stern instructions have been given to officers of the Mobile Traffic Unit to ensure these directives from the Inspector General of Police is implemented to the letter. There is no good thing that somebody does, or there is no person who will be walking and not be committing mistakes, even though we agree mistakes are inevitable, but nobody wants to be committing mistakes in the due execution of your duties. I am saying this simply because it's not an offense, and we are not picking any offense in it. But since the spike of these robbery cases, Gambia Police Force has been maligned, we have been ridiculed, we have been sent to tatters, and all sorts of things were said on us. We accept this in good faith, and we are not apportioning blame on anybody, because that's what we signed for. If we know we are unable to protect the life and properties of this nation, let me be on record. I, Sidi Mukhtar Toure, will be the first person to tender my resignation to the executive to say I have failed in my duties and I am relieving myself of my responsibility. Even though we don't pray for this. But then also, if certain issues or incidents happen, I think police needs to be given time. We need to be supported in terms of information gathering. We need to be supported in terms of logistics, which is coming, though not adequate, we must accept. And I think, we should all see the best possible way. The first robbery case that I mentioned here actually happened which year? 2014, right? 2014. That was way before 2016, 2017. And some of us who are the elderly ones now, advanced age, I will say, we have seen during the previous dispensation, the previous regime, the Central Bank of the Gambia, perhaps you the younger ones may not be able to remember this, but the Central Bank was also attacked by armed men. And this was during the time of former President Yahya Jammeh. Now let's check and consider the proximity of Central Bank and the State House of the Gambia. If you start walking, you will know what 5 minutes you are at the State House. And now we are forgetting all that. Every blame, every ridicule, every malignment, every antagonization is on us. But once again, we want to thank you for your support. And we encourage the general public to be sharing information with us. There is one particular case that I forgot to mention. If you can recall, on this fateful day of 22nd January, immediately after the Access Bank incident, it was reported that there was also an armed robbery at Kunkuyan Ketaya. Can you remember this? Very well. And an amount of 77,000 plus was what they took away from the guy operating the financial institution. That's the Western Union, or any name you may wish to call it. What our investigation revealed, with evidences, concrete evidences for that matter, he claimed that it was 3 men, the same description with Ansu, Loseni, and Mr. Jao, that it was the same people with the same vehicle that attacked him at his motor shop. We were able to confirm this with certainty, that this was staged. It's a matter of seeing the Access Bank robbery in the internet. Somebody also decided to take chance, capitalize on it, and manage this by himself. Today, he is even appealing to the police that he wants to pay this money so that no further action will be taken. Well, what I can say, I'm very sorry for him. We would not do this, because that even aggravated the same problem that we were faced with after the Access Bank incident. Once again, we appreciate your appearance, calling you on a very short notice. I believe majority of the media houses are here present. When you go back to your principals, extend our gratitude to them for responding to our call within this short period of time. I appreciate your kind attention. Long live the Gambia. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Commissioner of Police. We now have the honor of inviting the Assistant Secretary General of Police Crime Management, Demba Sow, who heads the Crime Division or Investigation Division of the Gambia Police Force, to make some remarks in relation to the ongoing investigation.
Thank you very much, Piero, and good afternoon to the IEB and members of the press here present. I think it's difficult to say anything after the excellent presentation by the Inspector General of Police. However, I just want to make a clarification on the recoveries that were made in regards to the El Hela robbery. The money you see before you was money that was recovered. The figure that was stated by the complainants remains to be the same, that is $1,250,000 is $1,650,000 CFA. However, the suspects declined to state how much each had from this money. So what is presented before you is recoveries that were made from them, not actually their shares, because they declined to state how much each of the two had from these amounts that were stolen from the recovery. Also, as you see before you, the implements that you are seeing before you are linked to the respective break-ins and robberies that happen as alluded by the IGP. That is at Denton Bridge, Carmelo, and Vinewood itself, and that is the pistols that you are seeing. Those were pistols that were used during the robbery that happened at El Hela. It is also important to note that early 2024, there was a robbery at a bank in Bandung called Vista Bank. And in that robbery, trails were made. One of the suspects, of course, fled to Senegal. And one of them is Ousseynou Touré. That is the one that was apprehended this morning. Ousseynou Touré was part of that robbery, and a file was built, and as we speak, he is going to court. In fact, he also jumped bail, so he was in hiding. God was on our side. On the 22nd of January, he was also involved in a breaking case at Farato. And this breaking case is what led to his arrest last night. So he is into breaking and robbery. So the people that we have before are for now our main suspects in most of the robberies and breakings. And I want to believe this should be able to allay the fears of Gambians and non-Gambians, particularly investors, that yes, individuals can go ahead in their criminal acts, but the police can assure you that there is no hiding place, being it in the Gambia or outside the Gambia. That's my clarification. Thank you.
Thank you very much. AIE Damaso and Grant for adding on to the statement of the Inspector General of Police. At this moment, I would want to now throw the baton to our colleagues, the media, whose day is today. So we will start. Please, anyone who wants to ask a question, you would come forward here. Let's have an opening there so that everybody can hear the question. You can ask the question. So we are scheduling. We want one of our senior commissioner just to give a brief of some of the brief of this, and then after we can have the questions.
Good afternoon, President. I am Commissioner Nabo from the First Safety Academy. As in the principles of investigation goes by, we are facilitators of investigators in various investigations. Usually we deal with materials that are of forensic interest. Actually, summarily this investigation was wide, but in sequence it starts from there. However, from here, these were the places people would spot in the various CCTVs. The military jacket, sort of the camouflage, the dress, the cap, and so these are where dresses that were worn by them and they were recovered during their arrest. You can remember in the CCTV you would have seen the military jacket on somebody at Access Bank and also the so these dresses were recovered from them when they were arrested. That's why they are here. The specific. So for the monies, when Hussein was arrested, from directly himself or where he entrusted some of the money, 198,000 was recovered from him in LSC. However, some portion of the safe account from him,
710,000 was recovered
from him. These are proceeds from LN. And again, from Apply, Hussein, from Hussein, 377,250 was recovered from Hussein, and Apply 222,000, and a total of 599,000 from the proceeds of LN. So, next is the Access Act. All of them didn't mention the amounts that were recovered by their shares. However, from the driver that was recently arrested, he was given 290,000, and exactly the same amount was recovered from the taxi driver, $290,000. This equipment that were recovered from the 2 nights.
and this is why we are for the guns.
From the guns, these are 2 guns that they use at the El-Hela and the Access Bank. And according to them, as a result of the breaking that they did in food shop, that's Kamalo, that's the proceed they bought the guns for. And from which one, they started using them, and in the major 2 weapons, and that is the Kamalo and the Access Bank. But from the onset, according to them, they had no weapons. And these were ordinances that they used at the Kamalo break. From the Kamalo break, the proceeds they bought the guns. From the proceeds of the guns, they did the Access Bank. And from Access Bank proceeds, they bought the BMW. And the same is what they used at the El-Hela. And from sequence, you can see, this was the first breaking they committed. This was identity. They were able to break the safe, but could not access the money. So they had no money there. And their next target was the gun food, from gun food to Access Bank, and from Access Bank to Health. The subsequent cases my boss was mentioning about Vista. One of the Senegalese national called Mansinia was the principal. His accomplice was Hussein. Hussein was arrested and prepared before the court. He absconded bail and was spotted in a CCTV at Farah where he was successfully arrested by the crime management team. So currently he is also part of the suspects that are here. We hope that with the arrest of these major people, crime may be minimized, if not eradicated. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Brown, for the assisted by Commissioner Bodo here and their teams, respective teams.
Just to add on, finally, the quarter that was used by Usero at the Farah breaking was also arrested. So he's coming. Most likely before you leave, we'll avail that also to be covered in the meeting. Thank you.
Allow us, we want to bring the suspects in here so that they can go to the party. We try to work on that. While we do that, then we proceed to the questions analysis. Then when they are coming, we give signal, then we allow them to pass through. We'll have them paraded before you here for the purpose of the media. Yes, so we can proceed with the question. I give you this.
Question at a time. One question at a time.
Thank you so much for this question. I think it's really okay. My name is.
For them to pick. Come, they can pick. Their cameras will pick. Hello, come. The mics are there.
Okay, they want.
Your people are picking.
Okay. So my name is. I think I can be heard. Okay, my name is Ali Jallo. I work for the Fatu Network. I have few questions, but I am meant to learn that I've been limited. Cognizant of the fact that we are the IGP and the senior police management here, I don't think we should be limited in terms of questions that we have, because this is a trend and it's really worrying. You know, so my first question is, what step is the police force taking to prevent further armed robbery? And then in conjunction to that is how equipped is the Gambia police force to deal with such violent crimes, and if there is any need for resources, because we understand that most of these crimes happen. And the other question that would be added is, what is the Gambia police force doing to actually collaborate with business owners to strengthen security? Because most of these things where it happens, the security apparatus we have there are very much loose. Thank you, and then I'll wait for my next round.
Thank you. Please, we would really appeal that one question at a time. You can rotate. When you finish, seek opportunity to colleagues, okay? Please. The next one, Isaac.
Thank you very much. I think if you are following the police Facebook, you can see the activities of the police, particularly in the area of community policing. That is the lead unit that is out there to engage the people, the populace of the Gambia, in helping us to combat crime. So whatever is being done by them is as instructions from the leadership of the Gambia Police Force. Because as we speak, the approach is, as far as policing is concerned, 80% of our human resource should be deployed across the length and breadth of the country. But this alone is not enough. So what we are calling for is the participation of Gambians in combating crime. And that is why the concept of community policing is encouraged and spread across the country. I'm not sure whether that would answer your question, but that is so far the approach of the police leaders.
I mean, it hasn't answered. Because this is the third time it's happening, or fourth time. Now my question is, what is the Gambia Police Force doing to avert further armed robberies? And you're talking about the Gambia Police Force Facebook, which actually does not answer my question. We understand there's a Facebook and that is just for the public to know, but the measures that the Gambia Police Force is taking to address further armed robberies, because nowadays no Gambians feel like they are safe. That is my question.
Okay, I will allow IGP to step in.
Thank you. Thank you, Sir. Okay. Thank you for the question, my junior brother Ali. If you are observant, you are now seeing police intervention unit officers, anti-crime, in broad daylight at strategic locations, patrolling areas that are considered high risk. Deployment has been done from the airport junction, Sukuta Java junction, way up to the roundabout, that's the turntable. Another team is located around Palmarima. Another team is taking care of the Westfield all the way to traffic light along Kairaba Avenue. Similar deployment is also being operationalized in Brikama, where business is centered. That's one part of our deployments. This is during the day, but for the night, patrols have been heightened. Members of the patrol team has been increased. We have been supported with $5 million by the central government, and the joint patrols are ongoing. Members of the security institutions of this country, all of them are assisting us in this endeavor. We are not stopping at that. The Office of the National Security Advisor, through the Ministry of Interior, has also written to the Central Bank of the Gambia, and we already hold 2 successful meetings, which were chaired by AIG Patajano, with members of the Banking Association of the Gambia, headed by Mrs. Jawara and their CEO, Mr. Ndao. We are putting in measures to ensure that all what it takes for them to help themselves, help security officers, and then more importantly, help to maintain and sustain the security of this nation by way of having installed certain gadgets in their business premises to ensure this is taken care of. And we are making progress in this, and hopefully in the near to distant future, we will see improvement in some of those areas. I hope your questions are taken care of. Thank you. Next question, please.
Thank you. We bring them after the question. So let's consider the question. After the question, we bring them, okay? Next question.
I said to call you from during your speech, I'm not sure if you highlighted some of the key things, which are some of the weapons that we are using, most especially that one. If it is loaded with live rounds, that is one.
Okay.
Two, if also the Gambia Police Force as an institution is looking into ways of collaborating with other sister securities in terms of some of their operations as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. The answer to your first question is to be able to ascertain or determine whether the weapons and bullets used are live rounds or they are fake guns. That can only happen when we get the ballistic examination report. And in this case, the Gambia Armed Forces are very supportive to us in this domain. Whenever we send this, the reports are available to us with concrete findings promptly. Your other question was whether, I think I've even mentioned this, it's a question related to Mr. Jallo's question, the general security of the nation. I believe, we have given all assurances to this. And I also mentioned that, all security institutions in this country are assisting the Gambia Police Force. I even mentioned in the budgetary support we got from the Ministry of Finance as it relates to this exercise. This is ongoing, and Brikama, Banjul, Serakunda, and even Banjul, these things are going more especially during the weekends. Thank you. Next question, please.
My name is Mohamed Sane, Gambia. My question is, in your statement you made mention that two of the accused persons or the suspects met in the central prison, like in Mile 2, where they possibly team up to become friends and be doing such activities. Is that not a concern to the security for us to look at ways that we confine criminals like this in our prisons? Because it looks like a breathing or recruitment ground for them. Like they recruit themselves from our central prisons to come out to do such activities. Don't you think it's high time for us to look at it in ways to confine these people? The reference here is, you remember the history of ISIS. The founder of ISIS started recruiting his fighters from the central prison, and that is so fair. That's my question.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I think, I will wholly and entirely agree with you that we need to have a relook on some of these hardened criminals that are arrested and subsequently taken to the courts. Just before we walk into this hall, myself, the CMC, the operations general, and the rest of the team members, we were having this discussion in the office. And I'm not obliged to reveal what measures we are coming in place. Of course, this needs the collaboration of the Gambia Prison Services, and I personally will engage the Director General as it relates to this concern. I can assure you your concerns are well-founded, and we will put in measures to mitigate any further occurrences of such. Thank you.
You can speak, because the mic is not good.
Okay, Lieutenant, and thank you so much for this press conference. I am Alani Chanoswale from FOS here. My question is, how has the regional bloc security reform contributed to the successful arrest of this culture?
Well, mentioned earlier, I indicated the collaboration of Bissau authorities, starting from their diplomatic representative in the country here, Ambassador Luis, together with the Inspector General of Police and the head of the judiciary. I think I earlier mentioned this during my deliberation. So that goes to show the way and manner they collaborated with us to get this, suspected criminal to be extradited back to the Gambia. So that satisfies your concern about the regional participation in this whole dish. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
My mind is not like someone like me, see one of them, like this policy, like me money, like I really like the audience. Like this, asking for that's the about Oscar Finega. My daughter like who asked me like Jimmy Coaching Alcati in the policy. Chili Jimmy,
somehow we if you are in something you go to Chilo, we got that's all we never jumtukaay yi gën a war pour ñoom nekkul ci ñoom maanaam comme ni ko ñeneen ñi doon ci wàllu équipement ndax dañ gisoon nañ ci fukki fan ak ñaar ci weeru septembre ci ñaar bi tey ñaar fukk ak ñett ci amoon lu xewoon ci suuf jaarul trafic laay wala amoon ñaari police yoo xam ne ñàkkoon nañ ci seen bakkan ci lu mel noonu lu bëri jàpp ne nag ci foofee la police yi waroon a gën a jëlee li nga xam ne mooy ay jumtukaay ngir fexe nan lañuy saafara ngir police yi tamit wala alkaati yi ñu mën di ngemb maanaam ñu équipe leen ñu koy mën ngir yu mel ndax léeg-léeg am roba si muy njublankat yi li ñuy def du nekk loo xam ne dafay fekk ñu pare ndax léeg-léeg di nga gis alkaati boo xam ne yow benn ngàndaay léegi tey bu fekkee gis nañ ci mel ne
waaw emale ko foofu rek ma mun laa tontu ah.
am nga solo léegi kon lii laaj bi yëpp daal mooy ndax yéen pare ngeen pour démb alkaati yi ngir su ko defee lu mel ni ne bu war a xewaat ëllëg ñoom ñu mën a jàmmarloo njub nag kat yooyu.
mais nag nga sant Mbaye waaw loolu beesut ma jërëjëf si sa laajte bi laajte bu am solo la affaire yi ñaawteef mboolem ñu ko def si dëkk bi fona bi ma demoon si télévision bi sax waxoon naa lii mooy 99 days for the thief 1 day for the master fona ndaje bii nii loolu la gën a dooleel parce que lii bi mu xewee ñu ñëpp réewewuñ mbir ne wax ji bari woon na torop waaye moo tax ñu ne Olof Njaay dafa ne jën su moo yaaku ci caaxooy bi la dee doore ndaadu soo loolu yëpp mën lañ ko jiñ te nangu na waaye comme lu ñu indi fii tey loolu dafa firndee ne police yi ñu ngi def seen liggéey dinaa nangoo yow ci li nga wax ci affaire yi jumtuwaay dëgg la nguur gi ñu ngi def seen kentulaay kattaan pour jàppale ñu ci loolu fana last year rek joxoon nañu almost juróom-ñeneenti moto waaye moto yooyu noonu li ñu njëkk a def rek mooy région bu nekk commissionnaire bu fa nekk def jox nañ la benn daal fi ñu nekk nii anti crime headquarters ñoom tam am nañ benn so noonu lañ tasaaree moto yooyu noonu ak suñ partenaires yi tamit ni ñu ñoo supporté waaye da ngaa gis ne soo cegee democratic policing or modernized way of policing police station bu nekk si dëkk bi fii war naa mun a am own moto mboolem police boo gis war naa mun a gàccoo jumtuwaay mu nga xam ne saa yoo gisee sa boppa si situation bu nga xam ne naka sudut noonu la war nga ko mun a saafara dëgg la ñu ngee try waaye yaakaar nañ ne tamit yaaga dinañ fa àgg waaw waaye il faut ñu ndànka parce que ñu ñëpp xam nañ ne Gambia tamit third world country la there are competing priorities mooy nguur gi lu bëri war na koo mun a def te mu ngi koo def tamit léegi police yi nag is part of those priorities so su fekkee gars yi ñoo dimbale tuuti war nañoo mun a wone mbégte ak kontaante si loolu jërëjëf.
Yes. My name is Jeff from the Point Mission. I'm also under the police and the security forces for the Asheville Background Response in relation to the timely response to the arrest of these suspects. My question is related to the two guns that was purchased from one of the breakthroughs that they did with Al-Kamal. Were you able to, during your interrogation, were you able to ascertain from them where they procured these guns and how, if they procured it outside, how were they able to smuggle it?
Thank you very much for your question. But I want to be a bit economical with the answer. I agree with you. Yes, they were procured elsewhere, not in the country here. And the way and manner he managed to elude security operatives at the border to get these things inside the country, we will leave that one as it is. I have the answer, but I'm sorry I can't provide it. Thank you.
damay laajte mooy gis neen robre yi xew nii yëpp dañ gis ne place yi ñu amee gisuñu ko yore ngànnaay maanaam ko yore pétale wala jaar si toog ci bunt bi di garder place bi ndax police yi dañu lëkkaloo ak ñi yore business yu mag yi bu ñu gis ne que seen alal dina leen mën a sàmm ndax bokk ci seen liggéey mooy sàmm nit ñi ak seen alal.
waaw jërëjëf Paradise TV laajte bi am na solo waaye fu naa li nga laajte nii jot naa see wax tuuti already mooy ne strategic locations yi nii mooy place yi nga xam ne ci ndënd yi la yi nga xam ne ñu ngi def business fi mu ne am nañ fa deployment waaye suñ waxtaan ak banking association officials mooy naka la ñoo mën a defee su ko defee every major bank because fii ci dëkk bi fii fukki bank ak ñaar banks lañ fi am ci dëkk bi fii léegi seen outlets yi tamit they are all the way spread across the country léegi lu ñoo mën a waaye foofu noonu tamit somehow ñu ngi am security foofu ko suñ gaay paramilitary deployment yu nekk si region bi ñu ngi cover those areas waaye ñu ngi waxtaan ak ñoom pour seet naka la ñoo mën a saafara loolu te su fekkee mbaxana doon na benn dinañ war a mën a am deployment si any of these major banks in the country waaye dafa sarta yu nga xam ne jéego yu nga xam ne war nañ ko mën a jël balaa ñoo aaga foofu te suñ foofu aagee tam ñoom tam dafa am li leen war il faut gars yi def loolu pour ñu mën a support police bi waaye xëy na si kanam tuuti rek du yàgga di nga gis those things happening jërëjëf taw tabar
statement that this actions that need to be about corporates and the apprehension of the criminals have already feel advantage which I can do. And we want them to say that criminals can act, but there is no hiding place in the government. So I'm not what our fight is about the actions in detecting crime in towns. And I want to believe that crime also has a dimension of prevention. It is also important. So if people can act without that intelligence available, that will understand their feelings and their connections before action happens, that would be a worry for me as a citizen. So my question is, do you have the intelligence about that capacity to detect crimes before it happens?
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, what I said is informed by facts that are before you, and the policy, the approach of the Gambia Police Force as we speak, this democratic dispensation is intelligence-led policy. That, to me, would mean that the police have to be proactive. And that is how we would be able to generate the intelligence to ensure that things or crime didn't happen. But the police have these functions. Key among them is the prevention. Where you are not able to prevent, you should be able to detect. So the intelligence part of our policing endeavor is actually being enhanced, and a lot of engagements are undertaken through even our bilateral and multilateral partners to enhance the abilities of the intelligence component of the Gambia Police Force. And that, to an extent, is to support the operational regions, because these are the people that should be out and about to be seen in the streets. So the intelligence part, we are doing our utmost best to make sure that we are able to prevent. But where we fail to prevent, we should be able to detect. And the evidence today is about detection. Thank you.
So let me just ask, because my question is not answered. I know that you are doing your efforts, but my question is, you have it already. Yes, or do you have that capacity to prevent crime by detecting of the action of
Capacity is never enough. Yes, we have. But there are always gaps, and I will prevail on whoever is interested in partnering with the police. We are open to work with individuals. But like I said, for now, yes, what we have, we are working with it, and obviously it's never enough. Knowledge is always out there, so whatever you do to get it, it is our responsibility. So thank you. Like I said, the intelligence, the capacity, yes, we have capacity, but not to the extent of we don't need more. So that opening is still there. Thank you.
So we are given one more opportunity.
We have asked a question. I think we should give a chance for opportunity to others.
I have a question.
He hasn't asked.
I am Omar Pral from Dynamic Gambia.
Okay.
The Inspector General have given a chronological order about how robbers continue to envelop the country from the past 2 or 3 years to now. One would be asking, is police so compromised in its effort to ensure that there is security in the country? And one most important is why man should continue to be a victim of the same crime when the police is there to ensure that these actions are stopped from the very beginning.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Before I answer, I want to change a language or a word that you use. I'm not comfortable with it. To say where the police are compromised.
No, it's just a question I'm asking. Whether police...
Yeah, but just change that word. Use a better word, please. Compromise. No?
It's a question that I ask. Whether police have compromised in their funds on top.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That doesn't look a good question. Yeah, it's not a good question, young man. Okay, if you wish, I can give you the answer. No, we were not compromised. We are not, and we will never be compromised.
It doesn't mean to down the police in whatever way in their funds. It's just a question that I asked.
Yes, but I also provided you the answer, right? Okay, you take it like that. Okay? We are not, okay? We are not. Thank you. No, there is one here who never asked. The one with the yellow red side, yeah.
Can we have let's have a comment, please. Yes, please.
Yeah, the concern has raised about the code of patrols from the So, what are the strategic plans to have instead of that in order to easily apprehend the suspect? Because previously, the incident of the KTC officers, the suspect easily fled the scene. So, what are the strategic plans so that can minimize?
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Ba. I'm sure you already know that the roles and responsibilities of each security establishment in this country is clearly outlined in the Gambian Constitution and equally supported by the various laws that they have. In the Gambia here, it is the statutory responsibility of the Gambia Immigration Department to be in charge of the borders. However, the ultimate objective of every security institution is to maintain and sustain law and order, stability in the country. Yes, when it happens, it is alleged and later confirmed that those assailants actually cross the border, which constitute a transnational organized crime, to come into our territory, conduct their operations, and fled the scene. But again, also, you will agree that the Gambia Immigration Department does not carry arms and ammunition. And that's the more reason why we spoke with the military, and they are assisting us to police the borders along those flanks to deter and prevent any occurrences of such nature. Thank you.
Yes, last one.
Yeah, once again, my name is Muglamin Sane from Gambia Revenue Intelligence Service. With all the statements that I mentioned here, we did not hear you mention what are the possible charges. We know there is, because looking at the where the crimes are, committed, and if people utilize the number, perhaps there might be swift response. And if there was, why was the delay?
Yes, thank you very much. My name is Mr. Sani, the Commissioner of Administration and Legal Affairs. Before I answer your question, someone just asked a question which has to do with whether police are compromising the cases. I will try my best to answer that question. Police will never compromise the case. These are serious offenses. And these serious offenses are called robbery with violence. And the punishment, according to section 99, sub 1 of the Criminal Procedure Code, the punishment is life imprisonment. And where somebody is charged with that offense of punishment that attracts life imprisonment, the offense is not bailable. You will not be granted bail in the court. But however, Ansu was arrested in 2014, 2021. Evidence has shown that Ansu was taken to court. But what happens at the court is not the control of the police. How Ansu was released is not the control of the police. We have no control when matters are before the court. In fact, these capital offenses are not prosecuted by the police legal team. It's been taken to court. Hello? Yes, it's been taken to court, and the Ministry of Justice, AG chambers are the one who prosecute those cases because they are regarded as capital offenses. So the charges here that you ask now, your question is, what would be the charges?
One of the charges there, I can tell you, is robbery. Robbery with violence, section 293. We have 292, we have 293. But where at least weapon has been used, it is known as robbery with violence. And other offenses like conspiracy, because you can see it's more than one person. When two or more people come together with a common purpose to commit an offense, the charge there is, one is conspiracy to commit an offense, and the second one is robbery. Third one is breaking into a building with intent to commit felony, theft, different counts are there. But the one that attracts life in punishment, it is robbery. It is robbery with violence. Thank you. You can only ask me legal questions.
Emergency number.
Emergency number, yes. I know when I was the officer commanding at Kanifing region, we have this emergency number where people will call if there is a crime or so. But these emergency numbers have been misused by the public. People will call and abuse the police. They will call and say, police officers, and they even call and insult us. So that's why that emergency number is being abused by us. So if we have that emergency number, we should be so responsible to make sure that these emergency numbers are utilized based on the reason why it is given to us. If you go to Europe, you go to America, you go to England, emergency numbers are there, but people don't misuse the emergency numbers. Even the fire service, people have made that people will call the fire service, there is fire somewhere, and when there is no fire. So, and they will even insult us. So everybody, as IGP said, everybody must be responsible in this country to make sure that we all own this country. We don't expect other people to come and, police this country. It belongs to all of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. The IGP has signaled that this brings us to the end of the legal question. Okay, one legal question.